What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 squad? Welcome back in to another video, and today we have some big news as we get closer and closer to the regular season. We are going to be looking at the New York Giants 53-man roster. I don't know when they're going to do a 55-man roster. I heard that buzzing around for like 2 years now, but this is still the 53-man roster, and so we're going to be going over it. But keep in mind, guys, this will probably look very, very different tomorrow. Like, as soon as tomorrow, this will probably look very, very different. That's pretty much how all these official 53-man rosters look in, like, during cut downs and when they post them for every team. It's not just the Giants. So this probably will look very different. Guys will be moved. Guys that we thought were cut are going to be brought back on because of IR, moving around, stuff like that. So we'll see what happens, okay? We'll see what happens. But let's go over the first set here that the Giants posted up here. The quarterbacks and the running backs. Very interesting to see that, Daniel Jones and Mike Glennon are the only quarterbacks here instead of a third, which, I mean, I guess they're trying to, make some extra room for other positions like running back, like wide receiver, which have 7, as opposed to starting with 5 last year and then keeping 4 for the majority of the season, which is a big, big step. Like, I guess they kind of corrected their mistake there, and they said, oh, we need more wide receivers active. So, quarterback only 2. So, very interesting because Daniel Jones has yet to play a 16-game season in his 2 seasons as an NFL pro. And, yeah, so it's very interesting to see only 2 quarterbacks there. It's going to be I'm very interested to see that 10-man practice squad to see if there's a quarterback in there as well. So, running backs, Saquon Barkley, obviously, Devontae Booker, Gary Brightwell, and check this out, Cullen Gillespie, and Eli Penny. 2 fullbacks, and who's missing here? Corey Clement. This one I did not see coming at all. We were all looking forward to seeing Corey Clement in the season. He was probably the best running back during the offseason, whether that been in practice, in the preseason games. He's been the most productive. He's looked like, I don't know, he just looked like the best guy out there, obviously, besides Saquon Barkley. So they get rid of Corey Clement. Are they going to try to find a way to bring him back on? Like I said, these rosters move around all the time. I hope we're not getting rid of Corey Clement. I don't see any reason to, other than any other reason besides production, because he's done all of that. So I don't know if there's been an altercation in the New York Giants locker room with Corey Clement. I don't know. Stuff like that happens that we'll never know about, but I can't see why the Giants would keep around Gary Brightwell when obviously he's practice squad eligible. He was a 6th-round pick for you. He probably should be a practice squad guy. I don't know why you would keep around Gary Brightwell and not keep around Corey Clement. Now, I will say that I liked what I saw from Gary Brightwell, but it's not like they threw him out on the field a lot, which means to me that, him not getting opportunities means that he wasn't doing very well. Like, obviously, if you're really interested in a player and you want to see more of him, you would give him more opportunities on the field, or maybe even have him with the ones out there. I think he was with the ones a couple of times, a couple of snaps. He was with the ones during that final preseason game against the Patriots, but that was pretty much it. He was hurt for a little bit, but we just haven't seen too much of Gary Brightwell for him to have a roster spot over Corey Clement. So, and 2 fullbacks too, very interesting. We saw Eli Penny running that ball very well last game, but as a running back. But Cullen Gillespie obviously is a special teams guy, so I don't mind that. And I'd like Eli Penny, but 2 fullbacks over Corey Clement, I don't see how special teams overshadows that. Moving on. The defensive line and linebackers. I'm sorry. These 2 pictures are cringe. Anyway, defensive line. We have, like we predicted, Raymond Johnson III making the roster as an undrafted free agent. Really liked what I saw from Raymond Johnson on the football field during these preseason games. Had a lot of burst, had a high motor. I believe finished like 1.5 sacks in these preseason games. He was very active during these games. And then nothing else really stands out for you. We have 5 interior offensive linemen, and then linebackers, we've got Cam Brown, which off-ball linebacker, I guess, or edge rusher, who knows. Lorenzo Carter, Coughlin, Tay Crowder. Trent Harris makes the cut over Efedi Odenigbo, who was a free agent signing that a lot of people were excited about, but obviously the writing was on the wall that he was not going to make the roster. I remember Justin Pennick saying that on the Young Guns podcast when we had him on last week. He was very interested in seeing if Eddie, he actually predicted if Eddie was not going to make this roster, and he was spot on, absolutely correct. Aziz, our second round pick, makes the roster. Reggie Ragland, Ellerson Smith, who we've seen none of to this point. Our fourth round pick this year, been hurt, so we'll see what happens with him. He has not been put on the PUP list yet. I don't believe so. I could be wrong. I don't believe so. I know Aaron Robinson is, though, but I don't believe Ellerson Smith has been put on the PUP list. And then O'Shane Ximenez, hopefully something. We see something of O'Shane. Hopefully we see something because I'm dying for production from him. Moving on, and by the way, congrats to Trent Harris as well. He was a guy I thought was just going to be thrown off the roster for Onigbo, and he proved that he should be on this roster. So shout out to him. And then I think this last, not last, second to last, we've got the wide receivers and tight ends. We've got C.J. Board. I told you guys, C.J. Board was going to make the roster over David Sills. Put your feelings aside, set your feelings aside, and think logically here, okay? Our main returners for this New York Giants team consists of Kadarius Toney, Adoree Jackson, and John Ross. What do they all share in common? Injury history. Not just regular old football injury histories. These guys have very significant injury history. So you need a guy to fill in for special teams on returning. CJ Board's been doing that all preseason. It was so obvious, the writing was on the wall, that there was pretty much not a lot that David Sills was able to do to stay on this roster, at least for the 53-man roster, over CJ Board. You had to really blow yourself ahead of competition to get ahead of CJ Board because of what he adds to special teams. David Sills may be a special teams player, but he's not a special teams returner. That's what we need. We need special teams returner depth, and CJ Board fits that. And on top of that, he's not a terrible receiver. He was with us last year, made that initial 53 last year. He's not terrible, but he adds a lot to special teams, and that's what's keeping him around. Now, the Giants elected to keep 7 receivers as opposed to my predicted 6. So this adds another spot, and a lot of people would have thought, hey, David Sills should be the guy. Instead, they give that spot to Dante Pettis. Now, although I don't agree with it, and I think that David Sills should have made the roster, I can understand why they kept Dante Pettis due to the experience, due to the production in the league, and so I could see why they do that. Obviously, this is a very, very young team. You got to have some experienced guys somewhere sprinkled on this roster, and I guess Dante Pettis finds himself to be one of those experienced veteran receivers, only being drafted, I think, in the 2017 or 2018 season. So that's astounding. That's considered a veteran, but is what it is. And then everything else seems self-explanatory. John Ross makes the roster, although we never seen much of him because he's been injured. What do you know? Kenny Golladay, obviously. Kadarius Toney, he's not starting off on PUP, and he's actually practicing a bit, participating a little bit, so we'll see what happens with him. Tight ends, only 3 this year. Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, Caden Smith. I agree with this if it means we keep 7 wide receivers. I actually agree with that. But the only thing is that Evan Ingram, you know his injury history. He went out in the preseason game with, I believe, an elbow injury. Kyle Rudolph has been fighting injury. He just got back to being active. So you got 2 guys that are question marks as far as injuries go during the season, and then you just got lonely old Caden Smith. We don't want to be, in a position where we only have 1 tight end on the roster. So just expect probably another tight end being added here soon before week 1, or one of significance being put on the practice squad, just in case a situation like that were to go down. Last slide here. We have a great picture here. I like this. Look at these. Look at these pictures. These are way better than this. Guys, you guys seriously couldn't come up with better pictures for Blake Martinez and Leonard Williams? Man, come on. These two look cringe. But anyway, these are way better. Defensive backs. Sam Beal makes the roster. Sam Beal did not play terrible in the preseason. Wasn't anything worth that 3rd round supplemental pick, but did not play terrible. So I guess that earned him a spot. James Bradbury, obviously, Keon Crossan, who we traded for, Darnay Holmes, Adoree Jackson, Josh Jackson, which we don't even know what we're going to see from him. He's wearing that 27 squad. He's wearing that 27 for the Giants. Julian Love, McKinney, Peppers, Logan Ryan, and Rodarius Williams. I'm so excited that Rodarius Williams made the roster. It was obvious he was going to make the roster, but I really wanted him to. Right from when we drafted him, I liked what I saw from him on tape, and Rodarius Williams just seems like a guy that can eventually be a starter. So I'm excited to see what we get from him. Hopefully he gets more snaps than Josh Jackson does in relief for any of these other guys that may come in to play during the season. Offensive line. We have a very, very inexperienced offensive line, guys. It's gonna be tough going through the season with these guys. Now, Dave Gettleman made some moves. I'm gonna be making a video soon about Ben Bredeson that the Giants just went ahead and traded for a whole fourth round pick. I know we picked up a seventh. I know we picked up a fifth, but a fourth round pick. There's just a drop off between fourth round picks and fifth round picks that is too great for me to just give up on. But Ben Bredeson, I was drafted just last year, played in 10 games, did not start any, but that's a good Ravens offensive line, so it's going to be very hard to get playing time anyway. But as far as I know, I mean, he's not been fantastic, so I don't really know why we gave up a fourth round pick. He's coming from Michigan, from that's his college, Michigan. We'll see what happens, but this is not about Bredeson. Look at Nick Gates, Will Hernandez, Shane Lemieux, Matt Parrott, Billy Price, Nate Solder, Andrew Thomas. So here's what's going to happen here. Our starting five, obviously, being Andrew Thomas, Shane Lemieux, Nick Gates, Will Hernandez, and Matt Parrott. Okay, this is our starting offensive line, very inexperienced offensive line, all right? Backing them up are just three players. And both of them, all three of them had little to no football time last year. Nate Solder opted out. Billy Price barely played for a bad Cincinnati offensive line. Did not see much time at all. And Ben Bredeson did not start one game last season. So very, very inexperienced offensive line. I would hope that we kept around a Ted Larson or whatever. Even though they might not be as good as potentially these guys, we need some sort of veteran presence here. I know Nate Solder is that veteran presence. I get that, but man, our two backup interior offensive linemen are guys we just traded for. Literally just traded for. So that's going to be interesting to say the least. Special teams, Riley Dixon, Graham Gano, no long snapper. I'm hearing that a long snapper may be added. Casey Creeder may be added back onto the roster soon, but the only time will tell. So we'll see what happens with that, guys. But let me know what you think about this 53-man roster. What was the biggest surprise for you? What did you like the most about it? What do you hate the most about it? And all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.